Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the July CAG meeting. Thank you for being here. I'll give it another 30 seconds I'll just give another 30 seconds before I kick us off. All righty. Welcome again, everyone. Let's get started since it's 4:04. As always, I will pass it over to Desiree.
Okay, great. Thank you, Paula. Let me share my screen. All right, good?
Yep.
Great. Okay. All right, wonderful. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Community Advisory Group Meeting 59 for the Eastside Coastal Resiliency Project. My name is Desiree Gazzo. I am here tonight with the Project PMCM HNTB 0 on behalf of the New York City Department of Design and Construction. I am joined tonight by New York City DDC colleagues, as well as several sister agency representatives as well. So without further ado, we will get started. We have a lot of updates that cover just about all of our topics. You could probably say that they're all covered, honestly, but we'll have a quick slide on recent community outreach events. We have a quick update on our inquiry tool. Stephen is on the line and he'll give us an update on hiring compliance. And then we'll go through our overview of contracts as we normally do, PA2 construction project progress, PA1, what we've heard, environmental reporting, and parallel conveyance. Recent community outreach events. In June of 2025, we gave a presentation at NYCHA Wald. That was a really nice presentation with the tenant association there. Since we're moving north, we wanted to provide outreach there. And then we've done a couple of tabling events at NYCHA Reese as well. Just a reminder, I know it's the summer and we've already attended one family day, but if you're building or group or community group, etc., is having a family day or any type of public event, we'd be happy to come and table. So if you'd like, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to come. Our inquiry tool, I know a lot of folks on the CAG just submit questions through Paula and Tara. Some folks do submit through the website though. So our inquiry tool that we have is going through a bit of an upgrade, it's getting a bit of a uplift. So we're really excited about that. We're excited to update our mass mailings and make that a little bit more exciting and hopefully a little bit more user friendly. So with this upgrade, it's going to be offline for a couple of weeks. So the inquiry tool may look a little different. We wanted to make sure you were aware of that it's not a phishing thing or any type of like fraudulent activity. So please, if you have any questions, you can continue to submit them through Paula and Tara or through the online system as well. And the website is linked to this temporary tool now, and there's a link here so we can, once we post this to the to the website, then we could put it there. Or Ethan, if you want to put it in the chat, you could do that as well. I'm going to hand it over to Stephen Anderson from Bowie Studios, who's going to provide an update on hiring compliance.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, Desiree, for the intro. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephen Anderson. I represent Bowie Studio, a member of the PMCM team, and our role focuses on monitoring the local hiring, MWBE participation, as well as supporting the coordination of community engagement activities. Of course, these efforts are part of just our commitment to promoting economic inclusion and ensuring that the ESCO project extend right towards local residents and businesses. And here on slide 1, as of May 2025, we have the total PMCM staff for project areas 1 and 2, reaching 252. Of those, 117 new hires, with 38% MWBE are coming from MWBE subs. Female representation is at 24.6%, which is more than double the industry average of almost 11%, with women in construction. And next slide, please. And so at project closeout, this is for PA2. Project closeout was in August of 2024. And PA2's contractor, Profedo, or PCC, had 684 staff members. Minority staff made up 48% of the 48% of the hires, and 5% of the hires came from MWBEs. Hiring has since ceased for PA2, and so as a result of the PA2 reaching substantial completion, so you will see moving forward the totals will remain the same moving forward for that. Next slide, please. All right, and as for PCC, as of March, we have 1,848 staff on PA1, with new hires representing 44%, 7.1% coming from MWE firms, and notably 11 new hires, were reported as Section 3 eligible. Next slide, please. This chart details the staff residency. Queens and Brooklyn leading in the Sandy impacted hires, with Staten Island contributing over 35% of hires. Also notably, nearly half of the staff are outside of the 5 boroughs. Next slide, please. With PA2 now substantially complete, so these numbers will pretty much stay the same for Profedo. You can see that the PMCM is projected to exceed the MWBE goals on PA1. We are nearing the goal on PA2 at close to 87%. IPC currently is at 52% towards its 16% goal for MWBE utilization slash MWBE participation. And Profedo has surpassed its target of 12% on PA2. Next slide, please. Still, again, recognizing that PA2 is at substantial completion, we take this moment to show some information and reflect on the broader community engagement efforts. So beyond ESCO, we have connected seekers, job seekers, opportunity seekers citywide to training, employment opportunities and pathways in construction, and projected. We have also, projected updates through hiring fairs, and this is information updates on the ESCO project through hiring fairs, through events and direct outreach, alluding to some of the activities like tabling that Desiree noted earlier that continues to this day. At these events, hundreds were engaged, and as we remain actively responsive to the community needs, and partner with organizations in the local community, the work continues here. And next slide, please. And notably as well, through strong partnerships with local organizations and labor unions, we are participating in over 20 outreach events. This is, again, primarily during the Project Area 2 time frame, not including obviously what has continued after August, but these efforts have also again helped hundreds to access information and opportunities both within ESCAR and also the broader NYC landscape. Next slide, please. Hiring is ongoing. Here we have two recently posted job opportunities that we've also shared with local organizations, and it's therefore whoever is eligible to apply. This information you can actually job seekers can actually see the full description via the QR code. And so the QR code will actually take you to the full job description where those interested can apply directly through the employer portal. And I will also encourage anyone applying to shoot me an email, and we can put that in the chat, Stephen@buoystudio.com. With that, if again, if they've applied through the portal, I'm able to also, shoot over an email to the employer to say, hey, look out for this particular person who is in the local community and has applied recently through the portal. So yes, please do encourage all to send me an email, or even better yet, shoot me the resume as well upon applying through a portal. Next slide, please. And as always, here sharing the guidelines towards the project goals. And so, this includes the MWBE maximization, standard recovery hiring NYC. And, if further information is needed, we have the fact sheet that is posted on our website for folks to, see more information and read upon the goals of the project. Thank you, and I'm open for any questions. If not, thank you, and I'll pass it back to Desiree.
Great, thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Wendy has her hand raised.
Sorry, I couldn't find the button for a minute. Hi there. Thanks for
Hi,
that
Wendy.
report.
Sure.
One question is about this, and we're still under 2% from Manhattan. And I thought it was Sandy, but also local that we were supposed to focus on.
Yes. And what was your question?
So
I'm sorry.
Sandy impacted, but also local residents. And I know Lesson, Lower East Side
Yes,
Employment
local
Network.
residents are included. Yes.
So under 2% though are from Manhattan, and there's no, for the breakdown, that seems kind of small. That's all I want to say.
It is,
Yeah.
and I will acknowledge that. And in the past, we've shared again the data that is shared with us through the employers. It's what we are given or provided, I should say. And so most of the teams are coming in with existing hires. Over time, and not to mention there's also the labor agreement through the unions. I can share again that the contractors have made every effort to communicate directly with the unions to attempt to hire and place local residents from the area. The feedback that we get is not favorable most times, but well, all the time. It's really and truly whoever is on the list that are next, they will place on the project. So bottom line, it does affect how we recruit and also the numbers that are displayed in the presentation and in the data.
And I know you go to the community board meeting often, and I don't know if job availabilities, I know the job fairs have been listed there, but here's two, like today, you have two that I see Harvey's asking for this posting. That would be helpful to have. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we welcome anyone from the community, especially who's eligible to apply. And again, as I mentioned, please, if they do apply, please do send me the resume and communicate with me directly, Stephen, STEPHEN @Bowie Studio, so that I can also promote them forward and say, hey, this person applied, they're from a local community. Please take into consideration them as a candidate for the positions.
Thank you.
Can you just email us the job postings though? Just send it to us.
Sure. Yes, I can do that directly. We can follow up with that. We can send it to job posting. It's also located on the website as well. But
Yeah, we're
we'll
not,
send it.
but it's like, it's much easier if you just email, like it's passive to say it's on the website, but it's
Sure,
active to
sure.
say you email it out. So I'd rather you
Yeah.
take an active role in sending it out to us so we can send it out to others.
Sure, we can do that.
Thank you. And I also had a question about the inquiry tool that's now getting updated. Is there a lot of use of that inquiry tool? Have there, like, over the last 3-4 months, has it been increasing since the park opened, or and what kinds of things are people asking about right now?
Yeah, sure, Wendy. It's a pretty kind of steady use. It's where kind of the community goes that have been to ask questions about the project. So it's some of the questions are like, can I access this area? Sometimes if we're doing a a certain activity and there's noise, we'll get an inquiry about the noise and what the activity is related to. We get all different types of questions, that's just kind of like the questions that we get here at the CAG from the community. It's just where we get the questions from. Yep.
And is it like one a day, or is it more often or less often?
No, less often. I don't think we get an inquiry a day, like maybe a one or two a week. It depends. If there's new activity happening, there might be more. It just depends on what's going on with the project.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Okay, great. So we're gonna continue on, and we will send the job postings to all of the elected officials. We have the list, so we'll send that out. We'll also send out the flyers to the CAG. The first, there are two postings there. One we did send out as soon as it was available. I think that was a week or two ago to all the elected officials, CB3 and the CAG. And then the other one just came in earlier this week, so we will send that out as well. So thank you.
Thank you all. Yep.
Yep, of course. So again, project area overview, we have project areas 1, 2, and parallel conveyance, which we will be discussing today. This is just a snapshot of the contracts. We will go into each of these project areas in more detail in the next slides, including kind of what is open and what is closed. For project area 2, there has been some sidewalk replacement operation that was ongoing, so that has completed. And now all areas except for the area that is closed for EDC's Solar One project is open and being used by the community. There are just a couple of small punch list items throughout the project that are being addressed. And as Stephen mentioned, the project has been substantially complete. For project area 1, we've had flood wall and floodgate operations down at the southern end of the project, which we have some pictures on coming up. Flood wall and utility work. Corlier's Hook Park is looking amazing. Phase 1, again, we opened quite a few of the amenities, and they are definitely being used during the day. There's lots of camp groups there. In the evening, there's lots of folks using the recreational fields and the barbecue areas. So it has been very used by all different ages. And we've been out there a couple of times and got some really positive feedback from community members who are excited for the rest of the work to continue, the rest of park to open to the north. Again, at Delancey Street, we have restoration work being completed. We'll look at that. Tennis court and tennis building construction, paver installation, East Houston Street, the ongoing retaining wall activities. And then in that northern portion, kind of south of the track house and south of the track and north of the track, the ongoing utility work, flood protection installation. At East 10th Street, again, we had the East 10th Street bridge removal, which we'll show a picture of. And then we have ongoing utility and temporary restoration work that is happening there. As always mentioned, ongoing partial FDR lane closures continue at various locations as needed. So this is the park opening map for September 2025. We are still waiting on that exact date. However, it is early September is what has been scheduled. I know everyone is asking. So it's a multi-agency effort to coordinate the date that it opens. So we are certainly working on that. But this is the map of approximately what will be open. The exact fence lines, again, are still being worked out, and that'll be shared as we get closer. But Corlier's Hook Park, the bridge, and the amphitheater area will be open, as well as the northern tennis courts. And then more of the Esplanade, which will connect to the ferry and Pier 42. So again, we are working really hard to get the date out to you. And as soon as we get it, again, we'll send Paula and Tara an email, and it'll be updated on our materials. The full phase 2 transition, again, will be in September, and that'll come as we open the new areas. So as you know, in that phase 2 transition, everything kind of north of Stanton Street or East Houston Street will be closed, and everything south, or the amenities that you see here south, will remain open, always maintaining that 42% open space. For the specific construction activities, we have a photo here of the Delancey Street restoration. The sidewalk restoration is ongoing this week, and the staircase, which again we've been receiving several questions on, is anticipated to open in the next 2 to 3 months there. So the team is working on getting that open. What we've heard, additional directional signage from the northern access points to Delancey Street ahead of the September closures we are working on that as well. So the first 2 of 6 floodgates were installed for Project Area 1. We know Project Area 2 has a lot of floodgates. We only have 6, so we're very excited when the floodgates get installed. So these 2 are down by Montgomery Street. Floodgate 1, which is a roller gate, was installed at South Street and Montgomery Street. And Floodgate 2, which is a swing gate, was lowered into place near Pier 42. So we're again very excited for the first of the floodgates to be installed. Some in-park construction photos, the asphalt installed on the northern tennis courts. On the right-hand photo, we have some pavers and furnishings installed at the tennis step-down area, which is really neat. I was there last night and got a chance to test out this little step-down area. They're not completely finished with it, but it was really nice to sit there and kind of enjoy the breeze that we had last night, which was very nice. Construction photos of the East 10th Street Bridge removal. That was a very successful demolition and removal activity. It is a big feat, and the team was able to get it done within the time allotted by DOT. Again, they have very strict guidelines on when we can do this work and do the full FDR closure. So there is still ongoing work, including some night work that will continue to finish removing everything that is necessary for the East 10th Street Bridge. But again, it was a very successful bridge removal, so we are grateful for that. These are some additional photos of the removal of the East 10th Street Bridge during the day, and then the photo of the bridge removed. So just a quick update on the compost yard. Again, the location is kind of south of the amphitheater between Corlier's Hook Bridge and the ferry landing, as I think everyone is aware of. The design of the compost area is being led by New York City Parks NDDC in collaboration with the Lower East Side Ecology Center. So we did just want to give a quick update on the timeline. So the redesign did begin in April. In July is or was, I'm not sure when exactly the team is submitting the conceptual design PDC submission. Between April and July, there were meetings with the design team, meetings with Lower East Side Ecology Center, and then there will be an opportunity for community input at the September 11th CB3 Parks meeting. And then after that, then in October, the team will make the preliminary design PDC submission. So we did just want to give everyone, notification or an update of this schedule, since the kind of conceptual design is being submitted. For environmental reporting, again, these are the locations of the 14 air quality monitors, still spanning from the complete south of the project at Montgomery Street up to East 10th Street. And again, as the work shifts, the monitors will be shifted as well. For the June update, again, these are the numbers for June. Most of the numbers, again, are within the kind of 15 to 25 minute range. There were a few longer occurrences, but again, dust suppression techniques were applied by the contractor, and then that again, activity was able to move forward. So again, the majority of the work now is within the park, again, between like East 6th Street to East 10th Street. So that is where, again, on the park side, so that is where we're having, the most because of the work that's happening there. But then in the kind of neighborhood in East 10th Street, and then at lower areas of the park where the park is now open, those have much lower notifications. For parallel conveyance construction progress at location 1, Jackson Street to Water Street, and South Street in Corlears Hook Park, we have utility relocation and sewer installation. In location 2, we are drilling for well points. In location 3, there is utility relocation, construction for the chamber, and drill piles for sewer foundations. Location 4, again, similar to 1, we have utility relocation and sewer installation. And then moving north, location number 5, Avenue C and East 18th Street, we have gas relocation, and there's currently no work happening at the Avenue C East 20th to East 23rd Street location. We are very pleased to report the final restoration of Gouverneurs Cliff East, South Street, and most of Water Street. Again, this is in the vicinity of Corlears Hook Park. These are some of the photos of the restoration in this area. There is deep sewer work ongoing at Water Street and Jackson Street. Approximately 4 more weeks of sewer installation and utility coordination, and then that area will be able to be installed as well. A quick update on the South Interceptor Gate building, which we did email, which we did send an email to notify folks on. So the underground interceptor gate chamber and above ground interceptor gate building at Corlears Hook is going to be at Corlears Hook Park, which is the little images here on the screen. That is going to be removed from the project scope. So the same facility is going to be constructed as part of the BMCR project down here near Brooklyn Bridge. So then that will be, the one to the north as part of PA1, and then the one to the south as part of BMCR will be the kind of extents of our kind of drainage area, and the one that was scheduled for Corlears Hook Park would be a redundancy in the design there. So there is no impact to the FEMA certification process, no impact to the implementation of the full flood mitigation or parallel conveyance sewer system. It's just, again, we did receive 1 or 2 questions as to, why or how come this wasn't, designed. ESCR and BMCR were on different project timelines for design. So, we did need to design them in for both to make sure that was, again, completed and that the flood protection was closed. However, now that, once BMCR was on board and moving, it was determined that we could remove that from the scope. And so that area will be kind of restored. The restoration there is still under design, but it will likely just be the continuation of the planting area and the path that would have gone, around the building anyway. So that's when we have more information on that, we will certainly bring that back. These are some parallel conveyance construction photos, utility relocation on Delancey Street North, some gas main relocation on East 18th Street, and the center photo we will provide an update on once we get that information before it's posted to the website. But as you can see, there's a lot of utility work happening with parallel conveyance. The team has to go, again, it's that layered layering of utilities that they're working on. And they need to go, very deep down to get the lowest utilities. So, and that is the presentation for this evening. We will open the floor to questions.
I actually have a question, and I'm not sure it's an appropriate question, and I'm not even sure you're the appropriate person to direct it to. But I was wondering, has anybody made any provision for a rack of city bikes anywhere in the park? It never occurred to me before, but I was up at Randall's Island this morning, and they now have them on park land. And it's a tremendous convenience for people who want to access the park by city bike.
Yeah, and that's a great question, and that is a question that we've received before. And I believe, I thought that Parks had answered that question, and had noted that none of the parks in Manhattan had city bikes within the park land. I can't speak to Randall's Island. I think on Randall's Island, right? You said on Randall's Island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever
think
borough that's in.
What?
Whatever borough Randall's Island is in, yes.
Yeah, no. And I know that Randall's Island is partially parkland. It's partially like MTA Bridge and Tunnel, I think, as well. Is anyone from Parks on that could speak to that? If not, we can get a response. But I seem to remember that in the Manhattan proper, at least, I don't believe any of the parks have city bikes within the parks. They're often right outside of the parks, but not within the parks. But we'll certainly get back to you on that one.
Well, I don't, even if it's never been done before, there are not city bike racks on the other side of, they're at quite some distance from where you have the bridges.
Yeah.
And there, I was down in Desiree in the same area where you were down, where the grills and the umbrellas are, and it's beautiful and it's very spacious. And there are sites where you could put them. In addition, when you show the map of what's open and is colored green, there's still a lot of land that is still colored kind of pinkish red, where if it's not too late to tinker with the design, you could possibly put some city bike racks, if anybody is interested in taking a second look at it.
Desiree, I'm sorry. Hello, Desiree, this is Nadine.
Hi, Nadine.
Hi, I don't mean to cut you off. You could forward that request to Colleen Shadagoon from DOT. She's involved in the city bikes and all these things. So if you forward it to her, she can reach out to the community and let them know if it's something that can be done. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you
Okay.
asking me to do that, or you are expecting Desiree to do that? I'm not.
No, I'm telling Desiree to reach out to what's her name again? Colleen Shadagoon she's with DOT and she
Yeah.
dealt with the bike, yes, and she will be able to direct you to the proper department that could advise you if it's something that they do near parks.
Yeah, we could certainly do a joint, Parks DOT email to follow up on this
Correct.
question.
Right.
Yep.
Thank
Thank you.
Wendy.
Thank you. Hi. Is the one barbecue setup I know it's very popular. Is there a second one being added somewhere in the park? Barbecue area?
Yes, that'll be up to the north. By East 10th Street.
And will it have the same locked barbecue? And I mean, because you can't take the ashes out, right? I don't know how they get taken out of the grills and put into the hot coal boxes, or those ash boxes for people who've brought their own little hibachi or something.
No, I think I think that's for the coals that are part of the barbecue. And I know Luke's out. Ethan, no one's from Parks on it there. Yeah, we'll have to follow up with Parks on why the barbecues are locked. That's more of a maintenance issue that I'm not particularly aware of, but we can certainly follow up with Parks on that.
Okay, thank you. You showed a picture of the step down near the tennis, by the water. Is that the same proportions as the seating in Sty Cove?
It does feel similar. I don't think it's the same though, because the ones in Sty Cove are a little bit more rounded and less angled, if I remember correctly. These seem to be on a bit of an angle, but I'd have to look, it's similar, but I don't believe it is exactly the same.
Because I was at Sty Cove the other night for one of the concerts, and it's kind of hard to get up and down those seating areas. Here, at least there's a cut through where you can clearly see there's steps. But there, people were using the fence along the edge and going over the plants to get into the rows. So here, the amphitheater and other areas that have similar seating, accessibility might become an issue for some people. Um,
Yeah, we
the
can look at that and see.
Thank you. And the air quality, I noticed a lot of them were by 6th Street Bridge that were the longest alerts, and some of them were off-site, so on the community side. And there's so much construction yet to come for Reese residents. And I just wondered if there's any special outreach to them or discussion about closing your windows. I know we asked about this when PA2 work was getting going, but this has been years of work for people who live right at 10th Street, and it's going to be continuing. Is there any outreach going on there? It's at the same level straight across, so it's a different situation than it was further north.
Yeah. So just to be clear, the AQM monitors, you could see here where they're located.
Mhm.
So the ones that are in the park, that is the ones, and again, the kind of the durations that are on that, again, are still very much so below thresholds that would cause concern. I just want to make sure that's clear. These are merely, when there is an alert received and then the contractor applies more dust mitigation. So I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of that. So if you look, so up to 13 are, within the park, and then 14 is the one that's at East 10th Street. So again, that's, it's on the park side, right in the construction. And then when you cross to East 10th Street, that's the 14 kind of monitor that's there, where there are not very many at all alerts. But yes, we meet with Reese on a regular basis. We meet with their TA association and give presentations. We've been tabling there. We can't tell people to, that they have to close their windows. That's up to them to do so. But again, the air quality monitoring that has been there, it has still been very safe. So, as we've mentioned to the community, should some construction activity, cause any unsafe conditions, then we would certainly communicate that to the community.
I have
But
two other questions, sorry, and then I'll let someone
Fine.
else jump in. On slide 35, you talked about that they've fixed part of the street. Can we encourage more repair of South Street? I've had another friend who said she nearly got killed there on her bicycle. Google is still pointing people to use that route on their bikes to get downtown. And I know Ethan has tried to alert Google. Is there any way we can make it more clear to people that it's not safe to ride on South Street, and it's still pretty bad for pedestrians as well.
We can try increased signage. I think we will have to go back and look at that and talk to the team about that there. But, comment noted, and we'll take another look at that and try to reach out to Google again as well.
Thank you. And my last question, number 36, you show that that little building is getting moved, well, or it's not being built by Corliers.
Mhm.
One of my things that I noticed in the park is water, and we talked about it when we were talking about parallel conveyance. When it rains, it's rainwater from the park now gets moved towards the community. If this pump station is not there, where does it flow? How does that affect that flow from rain falling on the park? And the calculation was for 1 inch of rain over that 45 acres, that's 1 million gallons of water. And if it's flowing
Yeah.
towards the community, and we don't have the pump station anymore, is it gravity, or is it the one that's further south that's doing all the work to move it?
So it's not a pump station, it's an interceptor gate chamber. So there will still be the infrastructure, the drainage infrastructure will still be there, but the gates that that need to open and close off the drainage area, that won't be controlled from there anymore. So it'll be controlled at the endpoints as the system is designed for, so that it closes off at the ends of the of our containment area. So this is meant to operate ESCR and BMCR as one again, flood protection, flood mitigation area to protect, if we had the FEMA flood map lines on here, to protect those lines where the FEMA flood plan had been identified. So again, the drainage is still going to function as designed for the project. It's really just where the shut-off gates are is now at the end of both ends of the project. Excuse me.
Thank you. Corliers, by the way, has a city bike rack just outside, close to the soon-to-open bridge. So that is one popular place where people have been using city bikes. I just know logistically it gets tricky. Anyhow, that's enough of questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
Diane, it's your turn.
Hi, Desiree.
Hello.
So understood that the exact date of closing and opening in September is not yet decided. I'm wondering, I had asked this, prior to the CAG, but how much notice do you think we'll get? Will it be a couple of weeks because there are no meetings in August. The CAG isn't meeting, the community board isn't meeting. So I'm wondering, how far in advance do we think that we will know what the plan is?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we were hoping that we were going to have an update for tonight.
Mhm.
It didn't that way. So again, we are hoping to have one very soon. Just because we're not having a CAG meeting in um in August, we will still provide the written update. And I mean, again, should we need to speak about anything, we are always available. So,
Okay.
if that ever needed to change, again, I don't think it will. We, we're here all the time.
Okay.
We did just get a note that it wouldn't. I know we were originally saying maybe Labor Day. It won't be on Labor Day or that weekend, so it'll be potentially just after Labor Day. We've been trying to set, or I guess it's kind of easier to set holidays, as these kind of milestones for openings. It definitely does put a strain on, on the agencies and because it is always a holiday weekend. So we are trying to move away from that moving forward. Um, so that's just a general thing. So I know in the past we've opened things on Labor Day, on Memorial Day, around there. So we are, this opening, that has been confirmed that it is not going to be kind of like on Labor Day. And so we're just looking for the date that it's going to happen after that. I know the community is looking to plan a, opening kind of celebration with the amphitheater, and we are very well, we're aware of that. And again, looking to, hear more about those plans and coordinate with the larger city. But, so we are aware, but it's just that particular date that the agencies are trying to nail down. So we are hoping to get that as soon as possible. And like I said, as soon as we get the go, you will receive an email in your inbox.
Okay, great. Thanks. That's, as long as it's not before Labor Day, I think that's one helpful thing to know. So thank you for that update. And the other thing is, speaking of schedules, we've been very focused on the final closure in the north and opening more amenities in the south, but we haven't talked recently about what is happening north of Stanton, or say between Stanton and Houston. You could, before Field 6 closed, you could see there was a lot of progress there. It looked like they were already cutting in the new embayment. And I'm wondering, are there updates imminent about what's going to happen north of the tennis courts and when that might take place?
Yeah, I know that we've been, trying to work on what that looks like moving forward. I think, we're going to try and push to have something again for that written CAG update in August. So
Mhm.
that way, then, maybe we can it'll give you an opportunity to ask questions, and then we could talk about it at the September CAG. So we are looking to push for that, and that's kind of our goal. So hopefully we can get something by then.
Okay. Because I think there are also buildings that haven't been built yet. So there's a tennis house and the maintenance and operations building. And so there are also questions about that. So, I know there are lots of moving parts, but I think, it seems like, in what will be a few short weeks, the north will be fully closed, more of the south will be open, but then I think attention is going to shift to, okay, but there are parts in the south that are not open. We understand that the compost yard is on a different schedule. And then also that area from, say, Stanton to Houston, and what that looks like. So yes, we will be asking more questions about that.
Yeah.
And just
And
one final, oh, go ahead.
sorry, I will just say the contractor team, or the contracting team, they did start work on the buildings
Okay.
finally. And we didn't put a picture in, but the tennis the tennis building has started putting in the utilities and the slab. So I think you might be able to see it from the gate, like from the fence when you go to the tennis courts, the progress of that building. We could also send over a photo or include it before we post this. But the buildings are moving forward now. So that's
Okay.
something that we haven't provided progress on.
And then finally, you
Yep.
mentioned 42% of the park being open at all times. We're getting a number of comments that it doesn't seem like 42% of the park is open right now.
Okay, we can provide that. We've provided the percentage in the past, so we could certainly
Okay.
just ask what percentage we're at right now.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes, we
All right.
have been very, very
Yes.
careful to maintain the 42%. But I know it helps when there's a number to,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And I think it's probably just, because the two open sections are separated, that, people feel like it can't possibly add up to 42%. So any information you have about that would be helpful.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Christine?
Paula, I can't
Oh,
do other, oh,
yeah,
sorry, do
I
other
see,
people?
I see one question, and it's from Christine.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, thank you. And hi, everyone. perfect that this slide is still up about the interceptor gate. So my question would be, when is the interceptor gate that's now replacing this piece of infrastructure going to be finished further downtown? Because I always was under the impression, or I don't want to quote, put words in your mouth, but I think you once said floodgates can only be closed once all the infrastructure is in place, and that would include the parallel conveyance. So I guess my question is, what is the timeline there? And would our flood protection still function even if this interceptor gate is not, or still be activated even if this interceptor gate is not built yet?
Yeah, so the BMCR project is on track and on schedule to be completed by the end of 2026. So again, BMCR and ESCR are, operating on kind of the same timeline. So again, that was another reason that we were able to remove this building from scope, because it will not impact um, the use of the floodgate systems, because we're all operating on the same flood protection timeline.
Well, that's really good to hear. Yeah, thank you.
No, you're welcome. And if any other questions come up about this, I know it's an interesting topic, and we received some questions. So please don't hesitate to send them over again through Paula and Tara, or through the website. And we always provide updates of BMCR at the CB3 meeting. So if you want to see any progress photos, you can go on the website and look at the CB3 meetings. Ethan, maybe you could put a link to the last CB3 meeting where we have a BMCR update, or the links to the BMCR flip updates if anyone's interested in learning more about the progress of the BMCR project.
I don't see any other questions.
Great. Well, we hope to see everyone out in the park, and as soon as we get that date, we will certainly send it over. So thank you everyone for your patience.
Thanks, Desiree.
Thanks,
you.
Desiree.
Enjoy.
Thanks,
Thank you.
All right, CAG, we can now transition to the CAG only portion of the meeting. Unless there is a strong objection, I'm going to propose we not take a break. But please don't hesitate to let me know if you want to take a 2-minute break. All right, so we want to power through. Is there anything that people want to talk about?
Well, I'm really disappointed they haven't fixed the street much yet. And there's still not very
South
good
Street?
signage.
You're talking
Yeah,
about South Street, yeah.
yeah, and there's not not really much additional signage where the only entry point at Lewis Street right now. I didn't ask my squirrel question. I don't know what happened to the squirrels. I think I have a feeling. We had updates from other things that we wrote in about, like shade or
I actually thought the one thing I did think about maybe bringing up is just following up on Katie's offer at the May meeting to potentially do a site visit so the CAG could identify the particularly problematic areas as far as lack of shade. So I presume there's still interest in that, but what are you guys thinking?
you know, it's pretty warm. It's 30 degrees hotter where the AstroTurf is. And I don't think they're going to do much to change that where the playfield is. But thank goodness we've had a lot of rain this year. And thank goodness the Lower East Side Ecology Center will be back soon doing doing stewardship in the park. So.
I think it would be a good idea to keep pushing on this shade issue. You know, my concern is that people in positions of responsibility will breathe a sigh of relief when they hear reports like, oh, there's lots of people in the park. Oh, yeah, you know, I got really positive feedback, and that's great. But typically, that is those people who are not afraid to use the park during daylight hours in the summer are people who are, you know, uh, sort of young and fit and healthy and, you know, don't really have concerns about heat exposure, you know, and that sort of thing. And meanwhile, people who have other considerations, people with really young children, people who are older and, you know, may not tolerate heat as effectively, or people who have health conditions that affect their ability to tolerate heat and sunlight are sort of quietly, they're not, you know, like no one's at the gate saying don't come into this park, but that is the effect that it has, you know. And I feel that, you know, we need to kind of keep that issue in the forefront and keep pushing to get some more, you know, shade in there. You know, so that the park is really inclusive. I was down there, you know, over the 4th of July weekend when it was really hot, and the saplings, you know, we're able to provide like one shade for one person at a time, right? And so I think we need to keep pushing forward on this because Parks is saying it's going to be 5 to 10 years before there's a meaningful shade. And that's a long time to exclude people. It might be someone's whole young childhood, or it might be someone who doesn't live to see that day. And I think that's wrong.
Thanks, Diane. I just want to lift up that Katie had to run, and so just at the end, yeah, that please let her know how she can help facilitate a walkthrough. So
Okay.
should that be one of our actionable next steps?
I think so. Yes, I think
Okay.
that would be good. Especially if this new amphitheater section and the other tennis court really do open up shortly after Labor Day, which is what everyone seems to be pushing for, that, you know, that might be a good time to go because at that point there will be even more shadeless amenities to look at.
Okay. That sounds good. I'll reach out to Katie about yeah, some mid-September date after the opening to do a walkthrough.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. The other thing is, I guess, you know, I don't think we really asked this question, and I think Desiree kind of skirted around it, but how did these guys, the planning people from the city, screw up the planning so that they had to tear up part of Corlears Hook Park and then decide they didn't need to build you know, an interceptor gate there because they had another building further south? I don't know if anybody on the CAG really cares about that. I'm sure that, you know, we could inquire and pursue information about that, you know, from, you know, in other channels. But that really concerns me because that's a planning screw up, right? We put 3 buildings in because we weren't sure about the one, but then when it turned out we had it, you know, that also raises questions about, well, what else was not well planned. So I'd just sort of like to hear an explanation of that.
And
I did ask that question
Yeah.
last week.
Mm-hmm.
They provided an answer. I probably should have reminded her to answer that question during the session. It had something to do with BMCR and ESCR being on different timelines and different fundings because once ESR got approved, BMCR was not approved. We didn't
Mhm.
even know if it was going to happen. So
Right.
they had to plan as if it wasn't going to happen. But I said, and someone should ask this also, I said, okay, what happens to the savings? Because if
Mhm.
you're not building
Mhm.
that interceptor, there's some extra money left over because you're not constructing a huge huge interceptor gate. Um, but I think that question should be posed again, as opposed to just me asking it. And to be honest, I forgot most of the answer, but it was something to that effect.
No, that makes sense. I do remember that they were on different timelines, but they did destroy part of the park. And they're talking about restoration, but again, they removed a lot of shade, and restoration will probably involve saplings that won't, create any shade for 5 to 10 years at a minimum. And I had also thought at that point about the money, Trevor, although I had thought about it slightly differently and wondered if this was a cost-cutting measure, to stay within budget. But either way, I think we should talk about that
Yeah, I
financial
think it
aspect
should
of it.
be a written request so that they have to respond in writing.
Okay,
I just got it verbally, just from
okay.
what I remember.
I was just,
So do we want to formally submit that question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay. Um, like in more than an email? Like in a letter?
We probably should. That's when they respond to us.
Mhm. Okay.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a huge letter, but
No,
we
no,
could,
no.
yeah.
Well, are there any other items that we want to put in this letter, outstanding items, such as our updated Gantt chart?
yay.
Yeah.
And also, what's going to happen in that space that's not being used by that building anymore? It's cleared. They took out all the trees there. Is there what is being replaced? What is replacing it? And I know it's right by the highway and all of that, the drive, and not like a great place to sit or anything. But could it provide some amenities that Michael and the Friends of Corlears wanted, but we're told there was no budget for? If they're taking that out, is there some money left that they could possibly use? I mean, that park serves a lot of people.
Hmm. Yeah, okay, so let's start by finding out what's going on there and with the rest of the schedule. Also, have we gotten any updates about when we're going to understand what happens at the northern end of East River Park with the Overwater Greenway extension?
They said they would come back to us with something preliminary.
Yes, I just wondered if they had actually um, some time target in mind on that.
I don't
I
know, but
think
if you could,
they
oh.
just stopped talking about it because they
Yeah.
don't know what they're going to
Yeah.
do yet. So we should remind them that we want to hear about that progress.
Yeah.
And is there any way we can support the advocacy for Lower East Side Ecology Center? I mean, it's great to finally hear so much is moving forward. Any way to help at this point, or wait and see what happens?
Well, I have to say that so DDC hired a new design team, and they're really working. They have a very rigorous calendar, very ambitious to really push this forward. I mean, we lost a whole year, but it is what it is. And they've been really sitting down with us and meeting and taking our input. How much of that input will make it into the design? That's a whole other question. But I guess the presentation at the community board in September should, I mean, we're hoping that they will get us materials before the presentation to the community board, but that will probably be a good place to come and pay close attention. But I'm really hopeful that they turned this into more of a design and build project, that they will really that we won't have to wait until 2028 or something ridiculous for that to be finished. So they're hedging on giving a timeline, but I know that they have very aggressive timetable. And I think they are submitting the conceptual design tomorrow, Friday.
Exciting
Mhm.
progress.
Yes.
I haven't seen it myself, but somebody told me that the ramp, the way you walk up right now to over Delancey, is getting cracks. Every 20 feet or so, there's a big crack going across.
Whoa.
And I haven't seen it, so I didn't ask about it. But I hope we don't have a situation like Sty Cove where a year later we're getting a replacement. So, and I don't know if that's the final surface. Maybe it's even going to have some other coating or something on top. There's no drainage on it at all, and I don't know how that'll affect cracks in a freeze thaw, seasonal situation. But it's something to maybe, if we do a walkthrough with shade, maybe we can also look for other things that could be put on a punch list or could be, we can at least inquire about that look. So if they look iffy.
Mm.
Noted. All right, well, as the next step, I will draft a short letter covering the 4 points we just talked about. And I'll share that with you guys next week for any feedback or, corrections. And then my other follow-up from this is to reach out to Katie to talk about a mid-September walkthrough.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Anything else?
I just did write Google while we were having the meeting, and if it's bugging anybody else, on the upper left of the map, there's 3 little bars, and you can click report, edit the map, and then you can report an issue directly to Google. So if you want to follow up on that too. That's
You
it.
mean on South Street?
Yeah, that they're still routing bikes
Got it.
down.
Into the
down
death trap. That's South
into the
Street.
death trap. And it's, there was a memorial yesterday, and that was a totally different thing, but we don't need to lose anybody because of the street, pothole. It'd be terrible.
Mm. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to move to adjourn since I don't see any questions or anyone who wants to talk.
No, but have a
Okay.
good, stay safe tomorrow. It's going to be disgusting.
Yeah, yep. Drink your water early before you get hot.
And if you go to the park, bring your temperature guns so you can see how hot it really, maybe I'll make a little trip there. I'm just
I
kidding.
actually think we should take those when we do the walkthrough, but we'll talk about that more later
Yeah.
as it gets closer to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you
nice
all.
summer.
Have a good evening.
Have a
Bye.
good month.
Yeah, see you in September.
Yep.